Writers in Hollywood are resuming negotiations with the studios on Friday. Today, so far, both sides have been far apart, with revenue sharing playing a central role.
Strike in March, strike in March, March in March, April in May, June in July. What the heck am I doing here? Let's do this.
Actor Dan Garza and his puppet Jeff have joined the writers' strike, a strike that many here believe will stretch well into the fall, disrupting the new season on TV, dashing movie marketing campaigns, and creating more economic fallout as writers and studios remain far apart on most issues.
Well, we'll be here forever, but at some point the studios have to, get serious. They have to stop talking about how much money they're making and pay.
I mean, this doesn't just affect the writers and the performers. It affects everybody. Costumes and makeup and hair and our grips and our union folks, they're all not working too. And then all of the people who sell stuff, like all of the distribution people and all those, it affects everybody. Oh.
The Writers' Union argues that series for streaming services tend to be shorter than shows made for TV. For writers, it means less work and smaller paychecks. On average, income for Hollywood writers is almost $70,000 a year, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Economists have estimated the financial toll, including lost compensation, at more than $3 billion. Sony, for instance, just announced that its profit will drop this year because of the ongoing strike.
All right, Scott Roxborough joins me for more. Scott, the head of the Writers Guild previously said that the union would not return to negotiations unless the studios were willing to discuss this issue of residual payments on streaming services, something that the studios had said was effectively off the table. Does the fact that they're meeting today signal that this strike is actually already having some success?
Well, yes, I would say that the fact that they are going back to the negotiating table suggests that the Writers Guild is starting to win its argument with the studios, and not that they've been beaten down or being sort of forced back to the negotiating table. There's been a huge amount of solidarity and support for this strike within the entertainment community, not least from the actors, who, of course, are also currently on strike. So that puts a lot of pressure on the studios to find a solution and to negotiate. That said, I think the two sides here are still miles apart in terms of demands. So while it is perhaps a good sign for the unions that there is a meeting happening today with the studios, I don't expect to see a solution anytime soon, but we could be seeing today the beginning of what eventually will be the end of these strikes.
Why is this issue of residuals, or revenue sharing essentially, for streaming so touchy?
Yeah, residuals is such a key element of this negotiation, a key element of the demands from the Writers Union, because for a Hollywood writer, residuals are sort of like your pension. They're the guarantee that you will still be earning money even if your show is dropped or even after you retire. Essentially, residuals means if you write on a show and then it gets rerun on a cable service or somewhere else, you get a check in the mail. And this has been sort of the basis of the business for a long time. But with streaming, there's been new models introduced. A lot of streamers, Netflix and Amazon, will pay upfront a bulk sum and will not pay residuals, or if they do pay residuals, they'll pay at a much lower rate than is in traditional the case in TV. Now, the studios argue that they can't afford to pay the writers more because they're losing money, essentially. Their box office is down. The traditional the television revenues that they're getting aren't nearly as high as they used to be, and so they say they can't pay out more of what is a shrinking pie. But this issue of residuals is really key for the writers, because they say if we give on this point, we're essentially going to be taking on all the risk and have none of the upside, and essentially could become something like day laborers for the Hollywood machine.
All right, DW Culture's Scott Roxborough, thank you very much.